What's up, everybody? Michael Johnson here with Backstage Choreo Live. I'm excited to be here because it's a Monday, and that means that everybody's getting back into the swing of things. And I am having a ball with these lives. It's been fun listening to some of you and reaching out to me and letting me know what you like and what you want more of. So I appreciate that. I know I go live at random times, so I don't always expect that everybody could be on at the time when I go live, but I go on when I can go on. And so it's been fun. But as usual, if you'd like to get access to all of these and just be able to get notified and be part of the community that these are going live in, you can join us at systemsforexperts.com. It's free to join. We give you all sorts of cool stuff inside the community, and it's a nice growing community that we're having fun talking about systems. So go check it out, and you can get it. Nothing to sell you, just come join us. It's fun to talk about systems. The quality of your systems is the quality of your life. And for those of you that have been watching and engaging and learning, we've been kind of just meandering our way through some of the systems. We have the business choreography systems framework, which includes a whole bunch of systems. One of them is the 7S framework, which is the essential 7 systems every business needs. And the next is the meta 4 systems. And those 4 sort of are the all-encompassing systems that apply everywhere. And then, of course, we have the choreography layer. And inside of those, we have the alpha systems framework, and we have EEI. So anyway, that's a quick overview, and we're really just going to jump right in because this is kind of, it's not that it's a series. We're not going in any particular order. On Friday, when we last jumped on live, I talked about a little bit more in depth on systems for personal use, not necessarily business, but we talked about personal systems. And so really, when you start to get your personal systems in order and you get in a groove, and you've probably been in that place in your life where those have been really a thing in your world, things were moving and grooving. And when your systems get out of whack or something happens, throws you off, and everything starts to fall apart. And that's normal. That's a thing. That's just how things go. I would equate it to riding a bike. And for those of you that have ridden a bike, or taught one of your children to ride a bike, or remember learning, I don't remember learning. Actually, I do, now that I think about it. That's interesting. That memory just popped in my head. But when you're riding a bike, there's a point, even as a verse rider, where if you're going too fast, like say you head down a hill and you're having to pedal faster than you can pedal, there's a weird thing that happens with the handlebars, and they start to shake and they start to go back and forth. And as that happens, everything starts to get scawampus until you can get everything back in rhythm and on balance and working together again. And that's rough. That's rough when your life is in that moment. So we talked about personal systems. So go check that one out. That was a great stream. We talked about some really cool stuff. Today we're going to head back to the E7S, the Essential 7 systems, and we're going to jump in to talk about retention choreography. This one is really cool. And if you're newer in the game, if you're in that earlier stages of bootstrapping, it's really hard to put your attention to retention because you're still trying to prove your offer. You're still trying to validate what it is that you're doing by bringing in revenue from your idea, from your offer, from that special, unique thing that you do, and you're trying to prove it still. And so in those early days, talking about retention is really difficult. It's really hard to do. So this is probably a bit more geared for business that's a bit more established. So you're in the right place still. And if you want to get a little bit of a future look at it, if you're in the newer stages, then hang out with us for a little bit. Okay. but for those of you that are in the mix, right? If you've been in business and you've been selling and you're looking at like, what kind of things should I do to move the needle? Retention is so often overlooked, and it's so often undervalued from inside the business because you're always thinking about things that are direct, straight to profit, right? So we tend to look at things from a very ROI perspective in business. And as we do that, we tend to get caught up in the only do it if I can see a direct ROI. And yet we know, and I think deep down, you know, that there are things that you can do that don't have a direct ROI. That's return on investment, right? $1 in should get $2 out, right? And when we do those things, it helps keep our customers longer. Now, retention is especially valuable if you've already found the holy grail in your business. I call the holy grail in business recurring revenue. So if you've already established that and figured out what your recurring revenue is in your business, then that's kind of the first level of the holy grail of business, right? You want it to be regenerative. You want revenue coming in without you having to scrap for it every single time, right? And recurring revenue is great. And with the onset of more and more recurring revenue happening in the world from business, many businesses are moving towards that, right? We went from Blockbuster renting something out one time to trying to have a membership, to Netflix coming in, taking over, starting to do a membership for you to get Netflix movies shipped to your doorstep. You get the CD, you put it in, you put the CD back in the envelope, you ship it back, right? You had a membership, and then they moved to streaming, and then all of a sudden streaming was on a membership, and now it's normal. Now it's normal for all of us to have streaming services, Disney and YouTube and Netflix and Paramount and Peacock and everything under the sun, right? In fact, there's probably a streaming service for just about everything that you want. We subscribe to the Cowboy Channel because my daughter is a rodeo queen, and so we've got to see all the rodeos, and we got to see the queening, the Miss Rodeo USA queening, right? Like we got to see all that stuff, and so we subscribe to that channel, right? So recurring revenue is really cool. Well, with the onset of recurring revenue, what has happened is it's more and more important for retention to happen. So if you're in that space where you're looking at it and you're going, well, I need to do better at keeping my customers longer, which raise your hand right now, because we all need to do better at keeping our customers longer. And it is hard to spend time working on your retention systems because they don't seem to have a direct ROI, but they do have an indirect or a secondary or tertiary effect on your long-term revenue. And so it's important to spend time on your retention systems. So what I thought we'd do today is we jump to the systems choreography board here and build a little bit on a system that I've watched and built in our business before, and just talk about the power of that retention system. And so let's jump right in. I'm going to pull that up on the screen. So here we are. We're going to jump into the systems choreography board here. And okay, good. Looks like you can see that okay. And inside, let's see if I can get that. There we go. Okay. So inside here, we've already kind of talked a little bit about attraction choreography. We talked about nurture choreography, conversion choreography, and these are just individual systems. There's lots of different systems that we could build, and we'll keep kind of cycling through and building different systems. And if you guys have suggestions, or if you've seen something and you want me to build the system out, I'll come in and build it out with you guys. We've talked about conversion systems. We talked about fulfillment choreography. We even backtracked a little bit, talked about positioning choreography, and we worked on offers the other day. And then we kind of skipped out on Friday and went to personal systems in the metaphor systems. So today we're kind of jumping back to retention systems here, and we're just going to talk about a retention system that I've loved. I've loved watching it, and it's one of one of the people I look up to in the industry I'm in, and they just do some really cool stuff. And every year at Christmas, they do a series uh, of giveaways. Essentially, it's like creating a lead magnet system, but for all the days leading up to Christmas. It's really, really cool. It's a very clever idea to really service your clients. And so what they've done essentially is they have they've made it so that every year their clients are looking forward to it. In fact, I've seen in their group and the group that they have that we're part of, people are like, hey, are you doing that again this year? We've loved it all the years before and we can't wait for it to happen. Like, people are asking for it now because it's become a tradition almost in that community. And so it's pretty cool. I've done different versions of it, and they are a lot of fun. It's fun to give things of value to your customers. And so I just want you to remember that, right? Because in a perfect world, when we didn't need capitalism, we would all be excited to just give away our expertise, to give away our mastery. We would be excited to help other people get excited about what we're excited about. And in a perfect world where we didn't need to have capitalism and get paid to live and be able to pay to live and to do extra things in our life that we want to do, in a perfect world, right, the utopian kind of concept, then you would just do that. You would just give it away. In fact, if you think about the thing that you are a master of and the thing that you love and the thing that you love doing and the thing that you've dedicated to your life to gaining expertise and insight and experience for, you love giving it away when you can. You love talking to people about it. You love when a young person comes up to you and goes, tell me about this. And you're like, well, and so then you kind of gauge how interested they are. And then you determine how much you get involved in it. But there's nothing more exciting to an expert than somebody coming up and showing interest in what it is that they're an expert at. I mean, heaven forbid we meet on the street and you ask me about systems, and I will have to curb my enthusiasm to talking about systems and about where they apply and how they apply and all the places they apply, and that's something to think about, right? Is that when you do that, you're gaining traction, you're gaining a fan. If they love what it is that you're talking about, systems in my case, right, then they're like, oh man, yeah, I'd love to hear more about that. And some people are like, nice. And then some experts can't read the room and they keep talking about it, and the person's like, I just don't care, right? So we have those things. Anyway, back to the system that I admire and look at in this other thing. Once we saw it, we modeled it right away because it's such a beautiful retention system, right? So you already have them on your list. They're already in your world. They're already a client or a soon-to-be client. It's almost like it's a retention system or a retention play, although we're doing it for people that are specifically clients of ours. And we set up an automation, right? This is the symbol I use for automation, a little triangle with gears in it, right? So we set up an automation. The automation sends them the first email. The first email says, hey, for the holiday, I want to give you a bunch of presents. Who doesn't like presents? This is awesome, right? So you can say, starting today or starting tomorrow, we're going to be sending you a whole bunch of cool gifts. Now you can set it up to end when you want, right? You can set it up to end on a specific date, Christmas. You could set it up to end on New Year's or whatever you wanted to do. It doesn't even have to be that. It could be something that's more particular to your niche. But this one's just a cool retention system, right? Because you don't have to sell anything, but you're gaining mad brownie points, as it were, with your clients. And so I suggest that this is something you would do for a a client that you have. Now, when we look at this and we go, okay, what's the goal? This matters, right? So down here, we got this little target for what the goal is. And that outcome we're going to put right here. So let's just jump in right here. What's the goal? The goal is twofold. Obviously, it's called a retention system. So we want to keep them longer, keep them as a client longer. Okay, that's easy. What else do we want to do? Do we want to sell them something? No, not necessarily. We want to add value. What would be some great proof to know that it was working? People are going, hey, am I not on the list anymore? Or posting in your community or your group and going, hey, I'm not getting those emails. What happened? Right? And that's some good proof, right? People start asking about it. Oops, about it. There we go. So there's some really cool, easy ways to see it, right? People start asking about it. It's in demand. Like every year, this thing, I tell you, every year I see it in the community. Hey, when does this start? Right? And they have a name for it, right? And you could name yours, right? Last time I did this, I named it the 12 days of Christmas. I think the time I did it before, we did the 25 days of Christmas, right? So it was just fun. And we were like, it doesn't matter if you celebrate Christmas or not, we do. And so we're going to send you stuff that's free. If you don't like free stuff, unsubscribe. That's a great way to do it, right? Because if you're not interested in systems, it's probably not the live stream for you. And I'm probably not your guy, and that's okay. So people start asking about it, right? And then, what we're not trying to do here, and the reason we kind of put that goal right here as a reminder is we're not trying to sell. We're not trying to be like, here's this free thing, go sign up for my thing. Here's this free thing, go buy my offer. No, we're not trying to do that. We're literally just focused on retention in full effect, right? We want to retain them. We want to surprise and delight them. We want to make them excited about being on our list. We want them to remember it and maybe next year wonder where it's at and can I do it again? Can I be part of that? I loved all the things that you added last year, right? So this is a cool idea. So what would be the trigger? Literally, the trigger in this particular instance is simple. The holiday, and then and being on the list. So that's it. Those are the triggers, and we can start it off on a certain date and make the trigger be that, and that can start the whole thing. And then the process, simple. We need to, and you obviously have to plan ahead for this, right? But decide what we're going to give away. That's easy. And then we need to create the emails or create the giveaways, right? Because you might not have them already prepared. And then we need to create the emails to give it away. And what else? Pretty simple. We'll just create the workflow. To deliver it. Easy, right? And now, I think that's pretty much it. And the giveaways might have, I mean, that right here is deceiving, right? This little piece, create the giveaways as if it was some small thing. Like they should still be of value. Don't give away junk, right? Nobody likes to get junk. Even, you go to these like white elephant parties, right? Nobody likes junk. You don't give away junk, right? And they're funny. It's funny for a second, but nobody wants junk. Everybody wants something good, right? So make sure you're doing good giveaways, and you might have to create some systems around that giveaway, but giving away some nice things it's a good idea. People like cool stuff, right? And then, and that's it. I think that's the gist of it. So let's see, am I missing anything there? I think that's pretty much it. Um, People that are in your system, they're going to see your offers. They're going to see your other stuff. Obviously, if you look back, there's a book by Gary Vee, whether you like his jam or not, doesn't matter. Teaches some good solid principles, right? He had a book called Jab, 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 Hook, something like that, right? And the point of the matter is give, 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 ask, right? Give, 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 ask, give, 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 ask. Right. So you want to do that. And these types of scenarios where you're working on retention, you're really not trying to ask at all. You're just trying to give. You're just trying to share what you are an expert at, and you're trying to share what it is that you do in ways that you can do it. And I think that goes a long way for your brand and for the building of who you are, what you're all about, and what you do. Right? Because it can really open the door for people to engage with you and enjoy what you enjoy and get excited about what you're excited about. I know for me, I started learning golf when I was in college. My buddies were like, come out and play golf with me. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. They're like, I have extra clubs. You just come with us. We'll show you what to do. And I was horrible, but I liked it. It was like, yeah, it's kind of fun, And so periodically I'd try it out while I was in college. And then after I met my wife, her father is a golf pro, and he was one of the top 100 golf pros in the US. So I was immediately shoved into that world and learning, and I liked it, and it was fun. But I just and I could get into it for a little bit, but there were other things going on in my world for a long time that just took my attention and that had my space, my energy. But I always kind of did a little bit. I always got a lesson here and there, went out and played here and there. And then there was a point where I had the energy and the space for it in my world. And all of a sudden it was like, oh man, I love this. I can't get enough of it. And then I was like asking him more questions. And then it was like, do you have any books on it? And can I watch videos on it? And then I started following influencers on it. And then it was like, I got to play more. And then I got to get the tools, right? I got to get more of the tech. I got to practice more. I got to start doing this stuff, right? So, and that took years to happen, because although I was somewhat interested in it in the beginning, it took a little while for me to come around and have the space for it in my world to get excited about it. And when that happened, then I moved. Well, in the meantime, father-in-law, right? He was still teaching me, and he was still helping me kind of at my own speed. And, here's this, here's that. Okay, come join us for, the family's doing a little clinic. We're doing some lessons. Okay, maybe come out and play with us. Oh, maybe you should play with your daughter. Okay, maybe you should learn how to do the, you know what I mean? So it was always kind of this little bit of a retention play, just keeping me involved, just being there for when I was ready. And I feel like, there's something to be said for that. Now, is retention like nurture choreography? Yeah, it is. It's definitely like that. And that's, it's easy to get confused, and it's easy to get like, well, what is it? Is it retention or is it nurture? Well, oftentimes the retention stuff is done once they are a client, and you're just doing things that are like the right things to do for your clients. Things that when you're a client, you wish they did, right? Little things. And so it doesn't always have to be a whole system like this or something based on the holiday. It's just, that kind of came up at the top of December, and that started happening again in that community that I'm part of. And it always reminds me how important retention is. And it's such an easy system to build, right? A nice, easy automation with a trigger and a whole bunch of emails that deliver the goods, right? You get a gift every day. Now, the harder part about it is setting up the gifts, And it might take these guys, it might take them the better part of um, might take them the better part of the year to get prepared to give all this stuff that they give away, because they give away some really cool stuff, right? And it might take them the better part of the year to prep for it, just so that they can give it away to their clients. Now they also give it away to their list. So if you're on their list, then you get those things too, which is cool, because it means that you could have opted in the day before. You could have opted in during the middle of it, and they'll start sending it to you, right? So they do kind of double, right? They kind of work on it as a nurture play, but they really do it, I believe, to improve the retention of their people, and of the people that are already buying, and make sure that they're top of mind, and that they're seen and remembered when it's time for them to buy. So I think this is a really important element of the overall whole. And when you look at it, you can see that it could make a huge difference. Now, let's cut back to what we were talking about earlier, which is that holy grail of business, which is recurring revenue. If you have customers that are in with recurring revenue, meaning they're paying you a monthly subscription, right? And you have people that are valuable to you in that regard, because they're constantly paying you every month, then this is a really good idea, right? Because you want to make sure that they're always happy. You want to make sure they're always getting value based off of what you're doing and what they're getting out of what you're doing. And I think it's important, right? So when it comes to recurring revenue, the retention systems are so valuable, and there's lots of things you could do. In fact, one of the plays that always surprises me, and I think is really cool when you see it done, is when you've got an influencer that has, say, a community, and they have like a membership community, and they have constant subscribers, and they're working on getting more subscribers. One of the plays I've seen is for them to actually have an in-person event that their subscribers can come to and join them at, and it's free. And so then you go, well, yeah, that's a great move. And then at the end, I can upsell them to the next thing. And so I'm always like, okay, are they going to do that? Is this a retention play, or is this an upsell play? And I saw one, not last year, but the year before, this one lady, she's a big influencer and has a podcast that's a kind of her front door. And then you can subscribe to her community and to her world. It's like $49 a month. And everybody that was in that community was invited to a free event that she would have that year. And I don't know if she did it all the time, but she did it, and she filled that event. And I know, because my wife went to it. And I remember asking my wife, I was like, okay, I want you to pay really close attention and tell me what she sells, right? Because she can't be doing this and not selling something, right? She got there, she came home, and she said they didn't sell anything. Not a thing. It's like it was a whole day event. They didn't sell a thing. I was like, that's a move, man. That is a retention move. I love it. I love it. She did it to support her customers. She did it to support her people, and her people loved it. And I guarantee you that improved her retention. I guarantee you that made her so much money, because those people were so willing to continue to stay on board and keep paying. There was no ask. It was only give. How cool was that? Right. So I love that. I love when you can see those kind of plays, and see retention in full effect. So I'd like you to think about that now. Think about what could be a retention play for your business. You know, we're in a interesting time of year, and depending on your business, this could be a really up time, or it could be a really down time, depending on where you're at in your business. And if it's a downtime, that's okay. Sometimes you know it goes through ups and downs and waves. But if it's a downtime, this is a great time to think about a retention play and get it prepped and ready to go for the new year. It's a great time to be building some of that stuff. And every business has that. I had a business that that was 100% no good from the months of like June till about August. And it was just that whole period of time was just, it was so slow, always slow. But all business didn't go away, but it was always slow. And it was the nature of the business and the nature of that type of industry and niche. And so we did things during that time, during that downtime, to build for the rest of the season, for when it was hopping. And we did things to actually try to counteract the slow time, right? But during the downtime, during times when your industry naturally kind of dies down, you want to be doing things like building things for your retention systems, because they're hard to put attention to. Like I said earlier, it's hard to put a direct attention to something that's going to give you a tertiary benefit. Right? It's definitely hard. It's definitely an investment, and it's sort of like savings for your business, right? You're building up a savings account of goodwill and branding for your business, so that during those other downtimes or during other times of the year, that system can kick in and be in place. And so retention systems are important. Anyway, I hope that idea and that concept of that particular system is helpful. I hope that you guys were, or hopefully it sparked some ideas for you of what kind of thing you could do that would that will make a difference for your people, right? What would they love? What would they look at and go, man, that's so cool. Like, I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they did that for us. That had to have cost them some money, or that had to have taken a lot of energy, right? Like, or something along those lines. I think it's a big deal. Like, it goes a long way for your customers when they can see that you did something that was specifically for them and meaningful. And so I hope you take that to heart, and I hope that's something that you guys like and that you guys go do. And you could copy it outright. It's not like there's a rule against using that idea if it works for you, and if it works for what you're doing in your industry. Honestly, I don't know why it wouldn't work. I mean, I guess if people are like anti-Christmas, then they might be offended by it. But honestly, it doesn't matter. If you're one of my clients and you don't celebrate Christmas, that doesn't mean I can't celebrate Christmas. It doesn't mean I can't give you gifts if I want to give you gifts, right? Like, one of my best friends in grade school was Jewish, and so I got to benefit from the fact that he celebrated Hanukkah. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I learned a lot from that, because he was a good friend of mine. And he was like, I'm not trying to make you Jewish, but if he's celebrating, he's like, I'm celebrating this holiday and I want to celebrate it with you. And so you get to benefit from that too. And so I ended up ultimately learning a little bit about it and understanding it a bit more. So it's cool, right? And so then when Christmas came along, I celebrated with him too. And so it was really cool, right? So anyway, that's beside the point, and I digress. Maybe I don't digress. Hopefully that's helpful. But that is retention systems, or a retention system. And I hope you enjoy it. Go build it, go put it into effect, or at least put it on your schedule so that it's something that you go and build at some point if you don't have it. If you do have it, take a look at your retention system and see if it meets the goal. Does it improve goodwill? And if it does, then you're putting something in the bank for the future. And I think that's pretty cool. So, all right, guys. As usual, until the next time, keep choreographing your business, and we'll see you on the next episode of Backstage Choreo Live. Take care.